What is up, everybody? Back with an album review here today, and it's going to be Carpe Diem by Saxon. Great classic band. They have been around since the late 70s, and they actually were together before the late 70s, back to the early 70s with like 3 different band names, but have been known by Saxon since the late 70s. Of course, their first album came out in 1979, self-titled. They've released 24 studio albums. This is their 24th, and that's impressive alone right there, and that's crazy to think about for me because I'm 25. So they've released almost as many studio albums as the age I am, which is ridiculous. And to be able to put out albums as consistently for as long as they have and as many as they have, it is just ridiculously impressive. And I'll get more into this, but there are 10 songs. It's just over 44 minutes, and I am a big fan of Saxon. I've always got Denim and Leather right there on the wall behind me. They've got a ton of good stuff. I've seen them live. Amazing show. As far as the lineup goes on this album, it's pretty consistent what they've been working with for a while now. They've had 9 full lengths with this lineup of Biff Byford and Paul Quinn, who have been on every single album. My voice cracking up for no reason here, but Nigel Glockler was with them up through the mid to late 90s, left for a little while, then came back in 2005. And then Nibs Carter's been their bass player since 1988, and the guitarist Doug Scared has been with them since the mid-90s. But that lineup together, 9 albums, and they've got good chemistry, been working together a while, and it shows here because this album is really awesome. Been listening to it a lot the last few days, and typically I don't do like standalone album reviews. Maybe I should start doing them more, but just really wanted to talk about this, shed some light on the greatness of Saxon, because it is a shame that they're not more well known. I mean, they're getting bigger and bigger, obviously, as time goes on. A lot of the older bands that may not have been as big back in the day are getting a lot more attention that they deserve now. Like, I think Saxon's up over 900,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, which is a really big chunk. But as far as comparing this album to later material by the bigger two, obviously the big two is Iron Maiden and Metallica as far as commercial success goes in metal. This just absolutely smokes anything that they have done in recent memory. Senjutsu is okay, Book of Souls it's okay, but Saxon, this just destroys it. Carpe Diem, and the last couple of Metallica albums aren't really that good anyways. I mean, they're okay, but as far as Carpe Diem goes, 10 songs. It starts off, I really like the way it starts off. It's kind of like a slow, epic build-up, and they do this a pretty good bit, like Into the Labyrinth from 2009, Sacrifice from 2013, Thunderbolt, their 2007 album, which the name's escaping me for some reason. All those albums start off with like this little quiet, slow build-up, and then it just breaks into a heavy riff. In the 2007 album, Inner Sanctum, which is a really good one, by the way. It's tough to remember all these. There's 24 of them. But, man, that opening song on here is killer. It's the title track. As I said, builds up, and then there's like a war horn. The album artwork, you can kind of tell it's like a war-themed album. They're on, basically, it kind of looks like they're guarding a castle. It's like 2 medieval-looking dudes on the cover there. But cool cover, and then once it hits that like war horn, it just transitions into a drum intro, and then you get the classic, typical Biff Byford yeah scream. Then an amazing riff. Paul Quinn and Doug Scared are great guitar players. Paul, really super underrated. He should get some more attention considering how many just amazing riffs and solos are all over all of their albums. And it's just, again, super impressive to me. Sometimes, when a band is gone as long as Saxon, there are others like them, and they're putting out albums. It's like, okay, man, this is getting a little repetitive. It doesn't sound fresh. It's kind of boring. I don't get that feel at all with Saxon. It's just amazing how fresh and, interesting and cool these songs are. And the production is great. It's co-produced by Andy Sneap, along with Biff Byford. He co-produces it. It's big, heavy guitar, great production. Reminds me a little bit of, Firepower type of sound. It sounds kind of like Judas Priest. I'm not going to say it's, exactly like Judas Priest or anything, but there's a mix of big, heavy Judas Priest riffs with some really nice melodic guitar harmonizing melodies like Iron Maiden style all over this album. But Carpe Diem, that title track, is really great. Love the chorus, love the riff. Gotta get the track list for the rest of the songs. I'll run through most of these and talk a little bit about them. But Age of Steam, the second song, I'll click on it. But it just starts off again with an amazing little guitar part, builds up. Then it hits just a really heavy riff. The Pilgrimage, same type of thing. That one's more mid-pace, but a big epic feel to it. The way Biff Byford constructs his vocal melodies are always so catchy in the verses. He's not the greatest singer ever, but his voice is always, it sounds good. And the melodies, as I said, always really catchy. The choruses, a lot of times, really great and catchy as well. And there's a lot of songs on here that just start off with a riff. The riffs on here are ridiculous. Remember the Fallen, big heavy riff, great song. Supernova, same thing, fast, heavy, aggressive. Lady in Gray, a little bit slower song overall, but still big, heavy, doomy riff. It's great. And All for One might be my favorite song on the album. Just an amazing riff. And then the last two songs are really good as well. But as I said, man, top to bottom, super consistent. There's 10 tracks. Can't go wrong with any of them. Really love the first couple and that one towards the end there, All for One, as I said. But I highly, highly recommend anybody that's not like super into Saxon to go through their stuff because, man, it is ridiculously consistent of a discography. And I've been meaning to try to rank it for a while. It's 24 albums, so that is a big feat to do, but I might try to get around on that pretty soon here. 9 out of 10 for Carpe Diem. I can definitely see this ending up on my top 10 metal albums of the year for 2022. And it's early, but I've got that feel with this album. I'll probably have it there. And one little interesting side note, I wrote this down, but didn't mention, the artwork's done by a guy named Paul Raymond Gregory. He's been doing most of their artwork since Crusader in 1984. He also did Angry Machines for Dio. He said he founded the Bloodstock Festival in England, so this is a pretty notable guy. He's done some Blind Guardian artwork, but as I said, cool artwork, cool album, very fresh, interesting, consistent, solid album here, good classic sounding heavy metal, so check it out, Carpe Diem by Saxon, and that does wrap it up here. Let me know what you think of this album once you give it a listen. I think y'all are going to like it, and until next time, thank you for watching.